Hi, this is Lorraine, and I'm doing another video. If you'll give me a second to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. Okay, so there's been a lot of information coming in all morning. A lot of information came in during just that clearing. And I took notes this week. I've been taking notes. And just sometimes the messages come in so intensely, and they're such profound messages, for me at least, that I don't know, I don't really like to talk about them. But the second that this vision came in, it felt like I should start the video with it. So I'll just say, I'll preface it with a lot of what the messages that come in are in the moment that I receive while I'm sitting here doing the videos. So many of the past videos I've done, I didn't take notes, I just allowed the flow of information to happen. So I'll share that information in that moment. I have epiphanies in that moment, and I share those epiphanies as they come through. Some videos I have had information come in years ago in pieces, and then in this moment right now I'll be able to put all those pieces together and see what those messages were culminated into, what they were supposed to teach me or teach us or tell us on this journey that we're on. And so the vision that I had while I was just clearing my energy was me in that crystalline structure, crystalline being, me crystallized as that static, energy out of the top of Mother Earth in this position, as I said before. And while I was clearing my energy, I'm moving through all the things I normally do to clear, center, and balance my energy and speak in a way that can be reconciled, understood, heard, utilized by anybody who's listening. So I'm going through all that, and I have that vision of me in this position. And then I start wondering why. So when I clear my energy, various visions come through over the last 2 years. And there was one of me in this position, arms open up at the top, legs open, almost as the Vitruvian woman, not the Vitruvian man, but my hands were up in this position. And then I would see myself as above, so below, in that X type position. And then I would spin, creating a field, and then I would project that energy out and around Mother Earth, creating a protective field around Mother Earth, but also pushing out any negative energy or attachments that are holding or binding Mother Earth. And so that was something I would do as my regular discipline. And so as I'm clearing my energy, I'm wondering to myself, why hasn't that vision, why haven't I been guided to see that and to utilize that tool that I have? And while I'm simultaneously seeing myself in this position as the crystalline energy, crystalline structure, crystalline field, And then as soon as all that information came in, I moved into this position of that X up here, but my legs, instead of being fused in Mother Earth, so in that vision I had, I would see myself from the waist up, protruding out of the top of Mother Earth. And as that vision shifted, I was now kind of superimposed over Mother Earth, so I could see my lower body within Mother Earth, and then my upper body still protruding out of the top of Mother Earth in this position. And then the message came, as above, so below. And then I saw myself as a creative force. So then often I see myself in this position receiving light energy, divine source energy, creative energy coming down through and into me, and normally through the bottom of my feet, clearing Mother Earth, myself and Mother Earth, and cycling around. But in this vision, it was that light creative source energy coming in and down through me, and then birthing out through my birth canal, however you want to see it, creation onto Earth. So I'm being used as a vessel of creating new Earth. And so those profound visions are not really things I would normally share with people, but like I said, in this moment, in these moments, as I see or feel this information coming in, if I feel like it's I'm going to share what I feel is appropriate for me to share. I'm going to share what I feel I am guided to share. I'm going to share the information that needs to be shared. And so I am guided through my higher self, through the heart center, to share this information. And so as I say that, this is part of my path and purpose. It's not for, if I refuse to share this information, that is my fear or ego imposing itself on the will of the higher self, and through the higher self, the divine. So, and I've released all those issues, I guess you could say, personal issues or experiences in this lifetime that have instilled fear in me or insecurity in me. I've released those things. And so I honored the will of the higher self, my path and purpose, and then that, and therefore that of the divine. And that, I think, as I say that, is the root or the central focus of this video. It's about all of us honoring our path and purpose, not only in this lifetime, but over many lifetimes. So, okay, I'm gonna go to my book, my journal. And so this is appropriate placed. For some reason, I have worries, things that I worry about that I release to the divine to transmute into something positive. So help me to manifest what I need to fulfill my soul purpose. Help me to release any negative energy or attachments, anything that will block or redirect me away from my path and purpose, or for what I'm here to do on this world in this lifetime. So I have this whole other ritual or other discipline that I have to help me release anything that might be blocking me from my soul purpose. And these things are very general. They're not specific. They're not. I know that there's stuff in my conscious and my subconscious, things that I'm aware of and I'm unaware of, that I allow for the divine to come in and help me work on and release. And so with that, I also have my affirmations, things that I bring in that I want to manifest into my life. And one of the one affirmation that was most difficult for me to write down and actually articulate, because I could think it, but when I fear writing it down, or I fear truly committing to it, that is fear, right? And so this was something I didn't write until, I don't know, I wasn't going to go into my journals and figure out when I actually first wrote it down, but I would say somewhere, just because it would take too much time, but I would say it's somewhere the late 2018 or early 2019. And what that affirmation is, it actually started out as I will release, but in this place where I am now, I changed it to I have released and let go of all that is needed to enable me to fulfill my soul purpose and help bring this world into balance with everything else from a place of love and light. And again, that is pretty general, but when the divine, there are no secrets from the divine. The divine knows our thoughts, our intentions, because we are all part of the divine. We are not separate from the divine. So we can't hide from the divine, okay? This divine source energy of creation. And so when I wrote that I will release all things, literally, I meant all things. I meant I could see myself potentially homeless on the street with no clothes, no food, or very little clothes, and not knowing where I'm going to get food or money or anything I would need to survive on this world. As much and as hard as it is to say, I set the intention to release my loved ones, people I love, whether it was from my life or in passing and death, including, any immediate family members, my children, everything. Like, I agreed that I will release all things, and whatever that means. Whatever that is. And it was the hardest thing I ever did, because I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that could possibly imply. But I knew that in order for me to fulfill my obligation to the divine, that I had to be willing to release everything from this plane of existence. Everything, whatever that meant. And I couldn't even fully fathom what that would mean. Okay, I can imagine it, but really I couldn't fathom it. And that was a little bit scary. But I had to make that commitment in order to fulfill my path and purpose, to create change and move Mother Earth back into balance. I had to be able to release everything. That way, this negative polarity couldn't hold anything against me. They couldn't use anything to manipulate me or to control me in order to do their bidding, its bidding, right? I had to fully commit to the divine source, to balance. And I did that, and the second that I did that, I just got all these strong messages, is that you are heavily fortified and protected, your family members are heavily fortified and protected, your children are heavily fortified and protected, you have nothing to worry about. But it wasn't until I could truly, within my mind, body, and spirit, release all things, that I could fully commit to what I'm here to do on this world. And so I'm sharing that with you because that was a very strong message that came in that I felt I had to share. And I know that might be unsettling for some people, but that's why I'm here in this position. It's because I can reconcile and commit to these things for the greater good. I knew that whatever my children's path and purpose was, whatever my loved ones' path and purpose was, that was their commitment to the divine. And if their path and purpose involved them, whatever come to pass, whether it be my children being taken away and living with their father, or someone I care about or loved one passing away, losing them tragically. That would be part of their path and purpose. It's not for me to determine what their path and purpose is. That's already been determined from the divine. And for me to be fearful to walk my path and purpose out of fear for what might happen to others is very ego-centered. I guess at the root of it, it's very ego-centered. We all have path and purposes that we are meant to walk, and I must honor mine, and I must allow others to walk theirs. So on my path and purpose, I am willing to release all things in order to fulfill my commitment to the divine. Okay? That doesn't mean I'm going to stop loving or caring for anybody in my life, my children and family members, friends. It just means that I will honor my path and purpose and walk it, and I will allow them to walk their path and purpose, and I will honor their path and purpose. Okay? And I will not try to impose my will on their path and purpose, or my beliefs, anything related to the ego. I'm not going to impose that on them. Okay? And so as I say that, it's a very natural progression to one of the very strong messages that came in this week, which was so a lot of information came in this area, let's just say, that I need to talk about. And so let me figure out. So when I see a lot of people, groups, organizations wanting to do or doing meditations, and they want to get as many people together to meditate on the same thing to create a collective consciousness here on the material plane and affect the collective consciousness in the ether, let's say, with this unifying thought of love and transition and change and healing for Mother Earth, right? Which is very commendable. Okay? I understand what the intention is. But what I would say is, when the best way to unify the collective consciousness on our path and purpose is to seek our path and purpose from within and then walk that path. Okay? So I talk about connecting to the higher self and connecting to the divine, and through that connecting to everyone and everything else in the universe. Okay? So as I connect to the divine and the higher self, I find my path and purpose, and then I walk it. And as I walk my path and purpose, that intuitively, that innately connects me to all others walking their path and purpose on this world and through this universe. Okay? That is the best way to connect the collective consciousness. It's not through mass meditations where everyone is thinking the same thought, because those are being led by an individual. We are all being led by someone or something else. That is not what transcendence is about. Transcendence is about us seeking and finding our connection to the higher self, and through that to the divine. Finding our path and purpose and walking that. Okay? We guide ourselves on our path and purpose. And as we guide ourselves on our path and purpose, we intuitively, naturally, to connect to one another through our path and purpose and our commitment to the divine, and then to each other through the divine. Okay? We are not to be guided by others. We are our own best guide, and we guide ourselves through our connection to the divine. The higher self is that part of ourself that is connected to the divine. That is the divine. Okay? It's not separate from the divine. It is the divine. It is the divine unified. Okay? So we are a unifying force, and as that unifying force, we are a unifying field. Okay? That source energy is a unifying field. You can see it as a unifying field. You can also see it as just one piece of nothing, of consciousness. It doesn't have to be a field, but I guess from this place it's very difficult for us to imagine just an existence as one thing and not see it as something great, because we look at the universe, right, and we see how massive it is. How can this creative source energy be anything other than something massive? How could it just be a knowing? And that's another part of transcendence. These are things that can be difficult to explain depending on where you are in your awakening or understanding of the self, understanding of faith, understanding of the divine. But I do feel these are important plants to seed, seeds to plant if on this journey. Okay? So, from that place of understanding the importance of path and purpose as a catalyst to that unifying field, to connecting to that source energy, and then connecting to one another and empowering that collective consciousness through that journey of path and purpose. I'll just move to talking about, or going back to my last video, I talked about some past lives that I experienced. And this week, I had some epiphanies that came through that were kind of telling me, okay, we've already planted the seeds of these past lives. Now you need to take it a step further and explain the lesson, or how these past lives apply to transcendence and change. Okay. And so in one of my past lives, I talked about that I was a shaman and tribal leader, or chief of the tribe. I was combined both. Okay. My mother died. I was raised by the shaman, who was a female, who was also my grandmother in this lifetime. My grandmother is in every lifetime that I have. She teaches me, or she puts me on my path and purpose. She gives me the foundation of my path and purpose every single lifetime. Every single lifetime that I recall, my grandmother's in it somewhere. And so in this lifetime, she's the shaman who raised me to be a shaman, and then also to be the chief of the tribe. And so in this lifetime, I never got married. I was committed to the tribe. And there was a woman who was part of our tribe who coveted me. She wanted to marry me. I was a male. And I never got married. My commitment was to my tribe. It was to my people. There was something very important about that lifetime, setting foundations. And so some information came to me this week that I didn't get when I did the past life regression, but about teaching the people. It's almost like cavemen getting fire for the first time. Oh, we have fire. What do we do with it? We can use it to cook. We can use it to heat, to warm us. We can use it as light, right? And so there were things that came into our field as a tribe that were new and undiscovered that we needed to learn how to utilize. Okay, and so that was my role in that tribe, of helping them through a certain level of transcendence that they were going through at that time, change. Okay. And so this woman was very attracted to me and coveted me and wanted to be my spouse. But it wasn't about love, right? There was no love. It was just about coveting power and control. As my role in the tribe, I was someone who was a leader, right? And she coveted that. But my role, from my perspective, wasn't about leading or oppression or overpowering anybody. It was about empowering my people at this time of profound change. Okay. So when the tribe split and there was the younger man who was trying to usurp my role, and then me, who was saying we need to leave, it's not safe here, and part of the tribe went with me and part of the tribe went with him. She had been promised to him and married him. Okay, so she married this younger man who wanted to be chief. And we left and went our way, and then she stayed back behind. But I would also add that every time after she was married to this man, or promised and bonded with this man, she was very angry and resentful, and I could see her face, and she would be like disgusted, right? Just so angry that I would not take her, that I would not marry her and make her my wife, and because she felt like she was a prize, right? When in reality, in her mind, I was the prize. Okay, in my mind, though, any relationship would redirect me away from what I was meant to do in that life, on my path and purpose, which was to make sure my people were prepared for whatever change was going to happen to them. Okay, and so that huge flood or whatever happened that made us move to a whole other part of Europe, was what I was preparing them for. I wouldn't have known it in my younger days, right, as I was growing and becoming a more affluent chief and shaman, but I knew I had something to do that was important, and I knew I couldn't be distracted from that. Okay, and so she passed with the part of the tribe that stayed, and I took the rest of the tribe across Europe to start a new life. Okay, and then I passed away. And one of the other things I'll just add really quick, which doesn't have much to do with this, but from last week, I talked about the angels coming and telling me it was time to go. Once we got to that new place, they were like, it's time to go. And what they weren't like saying to me, oh, it's time to go, chief. You know, what I'd seen once I was doing some type of spiritual thing. I had gone out to a mountain or somewhere, and I was doing some type of spiritual discipline that I had. And a big white wall of light showed up. And it basically was showing me that I could walk through that wall to the other side. And since I had a very profound connection spiritually, I knew intuitively what that wall meant. It was for me to pass back to the light. Okay, and it was in that moment that I had said intuitively, telepathically, I can't leave yet. I need to make sure my people are settled. And they're like, okay. And so at some point in time in the future, that white light came back, and I did walk through it, and I went and started moving to my next lifetime. So that was just something I didn't say last week that I wanted to explain, because it wasn't like I had angels come up and going, okay, we're going to take you. It wasn't that way. And so the next lifetime I talked to you about where I got hit by the horses. I was trampled by horses, and when I passed, I went to the light, and I just talked about that experience of transitioning to my next lifetime. But I didn't really talk about that lifetime. And so in that lifetime, It was like I believe it was the panhandle of Texas. Sometimes I feel like Nebraska, but I feel like the state lines were not either determined yet, or or they weren't like solidified yet. So it was somewhere in that area of the panhandle of Texas. My father had a plantation, and he was very wealthy, and because of that, I was able to go to college. My father was my grandmother in that lifetime, and so my father in that lifetime was my grandmother, and my father in this lifetime was my husband. Okay, and so what we did is we were our light working was we advocated for homesteaders. So I met my husband when I was in college. He was in law school. He became an attorney. And because my family had so much money, what we did is we used that money as our nest egg, or to be able to advocate for people without money. We advocated for the homesteaders, because the big corporations like the railroads, the Rockefellers or the JP Morgans, right? They were like on this manifest destiny thing, right? Where they're like, this is ours, we're taking it over. And some homesteaders, they were taking their land unjustifiably. They would bully them, or just flat out steal it, right? And so my husband at the time would advocate for the families so that they could keep their land in the courts. Okay, he would do pro bono, I guess you could say. And again, because these families didn't have a lot of money, we would do it for free or for very little money, and we would take money from my family money, right, to do it. And we were not going to stop. My husband was like, we're not going to stop no matter what. And we had many, many threats against us. Many threats. We had 2 kids, a boy and a girl, who are my children in this lifetime. And we just kept going because it was the right thing to do. This was our life work. We were committed to our path and purpose. Okay. Eventually, these men who would threaten us eventually took my husband out somewhere, shot him, tied him to a horse, drug him back to our house. I came out, and they said, if you do the same thing, if you keep doing your husband's work, the same thing will happen to you and your kids. So the man who led this group of enforcers, I guess you could say, was this woman that coveted me in this last lifetime. She was born a male in this lifetime, okay, in this western lifetime. And she, again, coveting power and control, right? She was going to do it. She got power and control by being an enforcer for these wealthy businessmen, okay? Although she was a male in this lifetime. And she was filled with darkness once again. It was a coveting of power and control in that lifetime, okay? And so my husband in that lifetime, one of his jobs, one of his light work was to advocate for people who couldn't have a voice, didn't have the money to have a voice, right? He helped them. But it was also to stand before the darkness and give that darkness a choice, to choose balance and divine source energy living from the heart, or to choose the darkness, right? He stood before him. That person could have let him go and went off into the sunset and lived a different life, right? Many times. But instead it chose to kill my husband, shoot him, drag him to his death, and threaten me and my children, okay? It chose darkness again. Okay, that energy chose darkness again. And there are some very powerful light workers that do that lifetime after lifetime on this world. They do it lifetime after lifetime. They step in front of the darkness. They give it a choice. Are you going to do the right thing, the divine thing, or are you going to choose the darkness? Okay. So again, this energy chose the darkness. Now, in this lifetime, I know who this energy is. This energy, the woman in that old lifetime where I was the shaman, that coveted and wanted to marry me because she wanted power and control, not because she loved me, but she wanted my power and control, right, that I had. Even though I didn't use it as a tool of oppression, I used it as a tool of empowerment. That's not what she would have used it for, okay? I didn't marry her. In that next lifetime, she chose power and control and oppression. Once again, but as a male. In this lifetime, she came into this world with a very profound light worker, a very strong light worker who is aligned with my father's energy. And I can't really, this isn't a conversation I want to have right now about how souls incarnate and what that means and the connections, but I would just say that this person incarnated into this world with the intention of coming into this woman's life. Okay, she incarnated on this world as a female, and the intention and her soul contract was that if she had a person who was a very profound, strong light worker, that he could lead her by example and show her what living from the heart center meant, what living from a place of love and compassion and kindness, what that meant. And that she would learn this lifetime that power and control was not desirable, that balance was the way to go. Balance was the most desirable way to go. That the darkness was about separation and wasn't what was aligned with the divine. Right? So she knew once we are with source energy, once we are with the divine and we are looking at our lifetimes, our next lifetime, she knew what she had done was wrong. Right? This energy knew what it had done was wrong, and it was trying to find its way back to living from the heart, living from balance, because we are all balanced when we are connected to source energy. Right? When we leave these bodies and we connect with the divine source energy, it moves us into balance. And we are able to see our lifetimes, our past lifetimes, from a different perspective, from a balanced perspective. And we understand the harm and the darkness that we've created on this world and in the universe as a result. So her agreement was, her feeling was, if I have this really profound light worker in my life, then he can show me from example the value of living from the heart center, from living from balance and compassion and unconditional love, and that yes, this lifetime I will be who I am meant to be. Well, in this lifetime she did not fulfill that goal of her soul contract, and she moved in from darkness in a very manipulative way, because as a female she didn't have the same power that she would as a male, and she reaped a lot of damage, and that negative energy worked through her desire for power and control to take out this very powerful light worker. Okay, this very powerful light worker from the inside. If there's a cliche I could use, he was taken out from the inside. Okay, and so I'm telling you this story. I'm telling you this because as we go through this transcendence, as we go through this change, and as we go through tribulation, the vetting process is not about just this lifetime. The vetting process has been happening through all of our lifetimes on this world. Okay? It isn't just about this lifetime. These souls have had many opportunities over numerous lifetimes to create change and to live from the heart center. and to drive forward from that place, to connect to the divine, find their path and purpose, and drive forward from that place. They've had numerous, thousands of years. We're talking, I went back 5,000 years to that lifetime as the shaman and the chief of that tribe. This one energy, for 5,000 years, has been trying to find her way back to center on this world and has not been able to do it. Okay, 5,000 years. How many lifetimes? Because that, if we lived 75 years for each lifetime, how many lifetimes is that? Okay. He sometimes, it has not been able to live from a clear, centered, and balanced place on this world, and that energy, through its actions, will not be incarnating on Earth again. Okay, so this vetting is not about just this lifetime. Okay, and so people that are not connected to the higher self and the divine, that source energy, they're not seeing the world from a higher perspective, and whatever's coming, they may be fearful, they may be angry, they may be a lot of things. And they are those things because they're not connected to the divine. And I have the utmost compassion for what they will be going through, but this is the process of vetting. And all these energies have had many, 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 many opportunities to create the change that was needed to be able to transcend at this time, in this now. And they have not fulfilled their obligations to the divine, to the self in finding the path and purpose, and then to the divine. Okay, because the divine is not punishing anybody. We choose our path and purpose through our words and our actions and our intentions. And these energies have not fulfilled their obligations to themselves, to their agreements that they made as they came into these lifetimes, and to their path and purpose. Okay? There is no lying to the divine. The divine knows the intentions, right? It's all about your intentions. What are your intentions? And we live from those intentions of respect, kindness, compassion, living a life of integrity, honesty, sincerity, or we can go manipulation, power, control, oppression. Those, our intentions, determine our actions. Okay? And so the last video I said, those who violate universal law, knowing they're violating universal law, the consequences increase exponentially. And so, just to clarify, when you continue to violate universal law, knowing that you're violating universal law, I guess the better way to say it would be that it increases your karmic debt. Okay, so as I talked about those past lives, that one person that was in those three lifetimes, 2 past lives and 1 this present life, as I talk about that, that flow of negative energy that's been created by acts by these people who continue to bring negativity onto this plane of existence over many lifetimes, as this destruction happens, it is a manifestation of their negativity. Okay, I said this negative energy knew this transition was happening. Okay, so their plan was to take down the infrastructures put in place, right? All the structures of our society, and then the infrastructures that support that society. Their plan was to just take it down, and then they would rebuild it the way they wanted to rebuild it, right? And so they were going to manifest the world they wanted by controlling its takedown, and then it's bringing it back up. But again, this universe is working from a framework. So there was definitely, this transition was going to happen, right? And since it's a framework, this negative energy thought it could just come in and create the change it wanted. But this world is so important in the universe that there was a certain infrastructure was put in place to make sure that this world transitioned the way that it was meant to. And just the same way that this negative energy had thousands of years to either find its way back to center and transcend with Earth into balance, or to continue with its antics, right? There were other energies put in place on this world that transcended over time and became stronger in their center, in their discipline, in their mastery of the emotional body, that enabled this transition to happen. And those are the very profound light workers that are working right now to transition this world. We haven't just been here for one lifetime. I know, I can feel it in every part of my body. I've been here from the beginning. I've been here through all whatever civilizations have been here. And I died with the people who were taken out whenever the worlds or societies were taken out. Okay? So I think that takes us to the next thing I wanted to talk about is I see people who channel different energies in the universe and in the inner earth. And there was someone, I was reading something they wrote about the Atlantis, people from Atlantis. So the people who survived Atlantis, the people who survived Atlantis, are in the inner earth. I read this somewhere. The people who survived Atlantis are in the inner earth, living in the inner earth. And they had shared with this person who was channeling them that they wanted to come back up to the surface. And I had done a previous video on this, and I had said that the only energies that are part of this transition are the beings in the water, Gladiola and her people, and the raptors, okay? Sebastian and my friend and Merlin, those people, those energies and humans on the surface were the only energies on this planet that are part of transcendence, okay? Any other beings that are in the earth are not meant to be here. The people who survived Atlantis were the people who caused the problem, okay? The people who died were the people who were living every day, the people who were being oppressed and and these leaders were trying to control, okay? We all died. We all died, okay? People who are just trying to live their lives from the heart center, honoring the divine, honoring their path and purpose. But there is these groups of people who want to be in control. They're the ones who make sure that they're going to survive. They let everybody else go because they're living from the ego. Okay, the Anshar, those are the people from the surface, from this time of tribulation, who went into the inner earth. They went back, they came back in time, right? This subculture of the Anshar, to make sure that their timeline exists. But they were the ones who left humanity on the surface behind to make sure that they survived. They didn't live through tribulation. They went into a hole and they hid and waited it out. They don't get to come back up to the surface. They've already tried to destroy Earth twice, or once, twice. The Atlantis and the humans on the surface right now that are trying to take us out. They're trying to control and manipulate us. That's twice. They don't get to come up and get a second chance to destroy Earth. They did not have mastery of the emotional body. They did not have the mastery of the emotional body needed to live from a place of balance, honoring all energy on the universe, living from the heart center, connecting to the higher self and to the divine, and connecting to one another and living from that place. This world, everybody living on this world must live from balance. They must connect through the heart center, and they must connect to the divine through the higher self, and then to one another in order to remain here. There cannot be any type of discord on this planet. Period. This planet must be a unifying force, creating a unifying field in this universe. When we go out into the universe and start to manifest change and inspire people to live from the heart center, we must be living from that place. When we go to worlds that are committed to darkness, and we are having to defend the people from that world who want to move into balance but are being oppressed by the negativity, we must live from the heart center. We must be able to master driving from the heart if we are asked to raise a weapon. Okay, and each person put in that position must decide from their connection to the higher self and to the divine, because they have to know through that and understand through their path and purpose and through the connection of the divine that they are being asked to wield a weapon. Right now in our country, in our planet, people choose to go to college, choose to go into the military, a lot of times because they come from very poor backgrounds, and they're being manipulated. Oh, we'll give you money for college, the GI Bill. Or we'll train you. Be all you can be in the army. We'll train you, okay? And then they sacrifice their freedom. They become property to hope to have a better life in the future. Or we have World War II, Vietnam, where men were drafted. They were forced to go in and kill, to fight wars. From this place on this world, when we are born in the future, after transcendence, as we are born to this world, it is imperative that we live from the heart center. We connect to the higher self and to the divine. We seek or find our path and purpose and live from this place. Because these men who will be warriors in the universe have to know that that is the will of the divine, to help free those who are being oppressed by this negative energy. Because this world will not, this universe will not move into darkness. This universe will transition into balance, and this world is where that starts. And so this vetting process has been over many lifetimes. This isn't just this lifetime. This has been over many, many lifetimes, and these determinations are being made in this moment right now. And I know I've met people who said this is their first time incarnating on this world. I'm not sure what that means. I feel like intuitively that you have had to incarnate on this world numerous times, mastered the emotional body from this place in order to continue on this world, because what this world represents in the universe is so profound. Okay? And that's what I know right now. Okay, so as I grow and as I get more information, because all this information that I've acquired over the last 5 or 6 years, it can't come in all at once. It has to come in pieces. So otherwise I'd lose my mind. Okay, so as more information comes in over time, I'll know where we're meant to go and how we're meant to get there. But right now, this is what I know, is that we are transcending. This decision isn't made just in this moment. This decision has been made over many lifetimes, through your actions, through your words, through your intentions, and this decision was yours in how you chose to live your life. Okay, this is not the divine punishing you. This is you making a conscious choice in this lifetime through your choices that you've made in this lifetime and then every lifetime from before. Okay? Now, I've talked about all time being now. All time is happening simultaneously. So when we talk about past, present, and future, that is a construct of this world. Okay, and I just want to plant that seed, because as I sit here and talk about past lives, you could say, what did you mean all time is now? Then how can there be a past? Okay, these are all perceptions and constructs that have been established in this world. But as I have an understanding of what that means, because all the information comes in intuitively, and then I just know, claircognizance, I know. It makes sense to me, but for me, where people are right now in transcendence is so varied in this time of change that I cannot speak and explain it in a way. If I try to explain it now, I think way too many people would be confused. And it wouldn't make sense. So I'm just trying to plant that seed, okay? It's okay to see like a time as past, present, and future if that helps you understand that right now, at this time of change, that we have made many decisions over our past lives that have brought us to this place, okay? And all those past lives come into play, are considered as we go through this vetting process of transcendence, okay? It's a vetting process that has been determined by each individual through their words, actions, and intentions, okay? And so we'll just sit there, but I just want to plant that seed once again of all time is happening simultaneously. And I think one of the I don't want to get it. I did use some metaphors in the past, but there's so much information for this video, I don't think I want to go into that. I just want to plant the seed and kind of let people think about that. And if you meditate, you can ask for guidance and help on what that means, and maybe you'll start getting information to help you start understanding that. Okay, and so I have a note here. Earth is not a prison planet. It is a planet of redemption. It is managed by the most powerful parts of the divine to teach and provide opportunity for change and redemption. So that just goes, that just goes to reinforce that all these many years, centuries, eons, however you want to look at it, all these lifetimes, all these civilizations that have been on this earth, was a place and a time for for these energies to redeem themselves, to choose balance, to transcend and find their way to balance and connect to the divine on their path and purpose with the intention that they came into this life with, okay, from balance, because we're born into this life from balance with the intention of maintaining that. But some people go back to that greed, the control, the manipulation, the power. They like all the nice things, and just a few nice things isn't enough. They want more nice things. They want all the nice things. They want to be special. They want to have the nice things, and they don't want you to have the nice things, because how could they be different and special if you have the same nice things they have? They desire this hierarchy. And they have a difficult time breaking free of it. And so there are many powerful light workers who have come into this, and many powerful energies who have been incarnating over many tens of thousands of years on this world to try to help these people, these energies, to find their way back to center and choose balance, choose compassion, choose unconditional love, choose honesty and integrity. We do that over and over. Just like I said, in that lifetime, my husband looked the darkness in the face and gave it a choice to choose balance, to choose the divine, to choose unconditional love. And lifetime after lifetime, this energy kept choosing oppression, darkness, power, control. Okay? So we light workers, we energies that are somehow, some way fortified heavily in our ability to maintain or find our way back to centered energy after trauma, have been doing this over many lifetimes to give these energies the opportunity to choose balance. Okay? And those who have not made it, those who have not been able to master this emotional body, will not be incarnating here. Okay? This is a very challenging world to incarnate on, but it's not impossible to be successful. Okay? And we, these powerful light workers, do it lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And so that brings me now to I was talking about the Knights of Templar, that archetype revealing itself to me in the last few weeks. And I keep on seeing these men who represent this archetype. And there's two very specific men that I see all the time. They're always in my energy field now. Very, very strong. I can't remember one of the cards in the tarot. Well, I think it was Judgment. There's two towers in Judgment on the Judgment card, but I can't remember if that's actually it. But it doesn't represent what I see. So those two towers, those are pillars. And I keep seeing these two men, these two Knights of Templar, as these two towers. And they're creating the foundation from what we're building on, okay? Of these spiritual warriors, okay? And then I see these two men standing there, and then I see these special forces guys climbing up them, like climbing a tree, and then they stand on top of them, and then they are creating a lattice, like a lattice fence. So they are one on one pillar, one on one of the towers, one on the other tower, meaning the knights, and then they create, they connect the two towers, okay? And then more men climb up, and they're creating. And so, so they're creating this lattice fence, right? And I'm like, that's weird, a lattice fence, but it's not. It's a unifying force. They are a unifying force, creating a unifying field, okay? And that's who they are. That's what they do. That is their path and purpose. And so they are part of these powerful light workers that over time, over lifetimes, have committed to path and purpose. And like I said, there's light and dark in everything. And I was watching a movie this weekend, and there were special forces folks in it, and it was from a very dark place, meaning it wasn't like a war movie. That's not what it was. It was just about someone, maybe post-war, I don't know. And it was showing them in a very negative light. And so what that told me was, yes, there are light and dark in everything. But what that also told me was this negative polarity is trying to instill fear in people about this unpredictability of this potential violence. Because I had said in the last video that when I've worked with a lot of different people in the community, and people with very severe mental health issues, they can seem completely normal when you're talking to them, but there can be something that triggers them, that takes them to another place, and then you'll be dealing with a completely different animal and different mindset. And I was watching an ad for a movie about Ted Bundy, and one of the part of the trailer was him acting very normal and making up a story about why he was with this person, and then these law enforcement officers let him take this person because everything he said seemed sincere, because that was who he needed to be to fulfill what he wanted to do, right? So he could seem very normal, but once he was triggered in this other way, he can become very depraved, right? And so that was this presentation of this in this movie of this person, right, who was supposed to be a special forces. So they're trying to do something to plant seeds of fear, okay? And so I'm going to go back to, that is why it is so important to connect to through the heart center to the higher self and to the divine, and to the collective consciousness through that, and ask for guidance. And that way you can discern between what's light and what's dark. You discern with the assistance of divine guidance on what constitutes light and dark energy. And I actually have an affirmation to that that I wrote. I efficiently and effectively discern between light and dark energies as I walk my path. I say that in my affirmations. I used to say my affirmations literally every night for 5 years, I would say. Now I do them 3 or 4 times a week, depending on what's going on that week. But I'm very disciplined in my writing my worries, my affirmations, and my gratitudes, things I'm grateful for, okay? But that's one of my affirmations, is I will efficiently and effectively discern between light and dark energies as I walk my path. So the best way for us to make sure that we're always balanced and we're always working with people who live from a place of honor and integrity, who are centered in their energy, is to set the intention to do so. Okay? That way, whatever negative energies or negative thoughts people are trying to plant in you, in your brain, seeds they're trying to plant, fall on deaf ears. They're irrelevant, because you have a very strong connection to your higher self through your heart that guides you in the most efficient and effective way, without any distractions from negativity. Okay? Okay, so I wrote this, I don't know, a few days ago, but I'm going to read the whole thing, even though it reviews stuff I've already said, because I feel like it's important to read this to touch on a couple other things. Aligning the collective consciousness does not occur during group meditations, where one is directing the thought of many. Alignment and empowerment of the collective consciousness occurs when each individual is walking their path and purpose. As we walk our path and purpose, we are aligned in this endeavor. Like attracts like, and the web of interconnectedness forms. As the energy on this planet aligns, we merge, dovetail, harmonize with our solar system, galaxy, universe. Once Earth reconciles itself, the assimilation of the universe begins. Thus, it is paramount that all humans transcending live from the heart, representing unconditional love that is the homeostatic state of divinity. And so from there, I just want to say that a lot of times I hear people saying we're going through some type of cloud and the veil is thinning right now, so we have this opportunity of change, right? So what I wrote was I wrote the veil is thinning, question mark. It will remain thin. Those with profound connections to the divine will hold on to those connections. Those connections are earned through commitment, solidified and emboldened through intention. So we're not going to all of a sudden lose our connections to the divine that we have right now because our planet moves out of the Oort cloud or whatever cloud we're going through. These connections are made through our commitment to the divine, our commitment to our path and purpose, our connection that we've made, and our commitments that we make. Okay, this veil, this cloud or whatever it is that we're going through is helping to dispel the negative energy so that we can more readily connect to the divine, access the heart center, find our path, seek our path and purpose, and walk it. Okay, but it's not we won't lose our connection once we pass through it. Okay, it's just empowering us and disempowering the negativity. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, and so when I first came to Seattle, it was right after I had my massive spiritual awakening, and I was just learning this new world because I was raised very, very Catholic. I was raised very much in the dogma of religion, but I was raised from the best parts of religion. My grandmother and my father, my parents, my family was very open and accepting of all people. And you know, when the Catholic Church said that gays couldn't go to church anymore, and my brother stopped, but I have family members who are not who are gay who still kept going to church, and I didn't believe that the Pope or the church had a right to say who could and couldn't go to church. But that's ostracism, and God doesn't ostracize. The divine doesn't ostracize. It accepts everyone and everything unconditionally, from a place of unconditional love. But when I came to Seattle, and I started joining like groups and where people we do I don't know what they call them. They would have like people come and we do psychometry readings, and someone would come and talk and talk about some aspect of the esoteric community. And so I just started doing some psychometry readings, which means you grab something and you touch it and you just tell people what comes to you. Clairtangents, I guess. And I had some issues with some people, and I had people saying, you know, you're young, you've only been in this community for so long. I've been doing this for 20 years or 25 years, and like, I know and you don't. I'm up here and you're down here. So, you know, they're basically bullying me and telling me that, you know, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know what I'm talking about because I've only been doing this for X amount of time. And I'm like, so what I ended up doing is backing out. I'm like, there is so much ego and so much oppression in these groups. It's ridiculous. I'm like, I thought I'm entering this community of, you know, psychics who live from a place of love and light and acceptance and unconditional love, because that's what I experienced through all my profound spiritual experiences that I was having, with angels showing up and guides showing up, literally physically manifesting in my room, in my space, with the massive amounts of energy flowing through my body and just heating me up and just filling me with love. And that's all I experience, is just this massive like onslaught of divine love. And I go into these communities and it's all about ego. You know, they're completely marginalizing me because, oh, I just started working professionally in this area, and I just thought, oh my God, these are not people I want to be around. So I backed out. I'm like, I need to go on my own. Okay, there were a few nice people. I don't want to say everybody was like that, but I decided I needed to go and work through this on my own and do things my own way. And that's pretty much been my whole life. I've always done things my own way, and every lifetime. going to college back when it was, the gold rush, I don't know, 1800s, sometime around there. During colonial times, I was a designer. I designed clothes, and I designed myself trousers. As a female, I would wear trousers, and it wasn't looked upon, but it was my thing. I just did things my way. I've always done things my way. And in honoring and respecting the world around me, I didn't oppress other people, but it was important for me to express myself and who I was, and be honest about who I was, and not allow other people's opinions about who they thought I should be affect how I live my life. And when I went into these communities, that's what I got, is people telling me what I should be, and I should be small because they're big and I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just like, nope, that's not for me. I'm out. This isn't for me. This isn't what this isn't what resonates with me. This is not where I'm supposed to be. I could feel it in my body. So I moved on to someplace else, to something else. And so I'm just going to read this. The divine works through us. The greater our commitment to the whole, the greater good, the greater our access to divine source energy. This is not about years of practice. This is about rising to the occasion in the moment, because there is only now. We have spent lifetimes preparing for this moment. Those who have done the work transcend. Okay? People need to be honored for what they offer. People need to be honored for who they are and their commitment to whatever it is they commit to. Just because it's a different field, if you can commit to one thing wholly, mind, body, and spirit, you can commit to another thing wholly, mind, body, and spirit. And that needs to be honored. And that's not the world we live in right now. And that's where we're moving. And that's why I talk about these men in the special forces so much, because when they're so single-minded in their thinking, that once they commit to that one thing, they're going to drive it all the way through until they fulfill whatever commitment or goals they've set for themselves. That's not to say that they don't have other things going on that they can't take care of, or that they're not taking care of. They can multitask, but single-minded in their commitment when they decide to do something. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? These Knights of Templar are also very, like, who they are. I know, I can see who they are in their lives, and they are very much like these men in special forces. They're just not in the military, but in their fields, whatever it is that they're doing, they commit wholly to it and they master it, and they are very good, and that's how they live their life on many levels. So it's not just whatever they do for a living that they are incredibly gifted at. It is whatever they set their mind to. And that is where we are moving, is to this place of diversification of knowledge and wisdom. We all share that commitment to the greater good. That's what makes us powerful light workers, is that we have always been able to find our path and purpose and commit fully to that while living our lives, whatever that means for us in that lifetime, because we still have to fit into whatever that lifetime is, but we integrate path and purpose and our divine inspiration into those lifetimes. That's what makes us powerful. That's what makes us unstoppable. And as we do that, we become more fortified through the divine source energy. When we commit to that divine unconditional love, that source love, that homeostatic state of divinity, we receive, or we tap into that source energy, whatever that is. I want to say power, but I don't know if it's really power. I think it's wisdom, it's knowing, and through that wisdom and knowing, we fortify our energy fields, and the greatest protection we have from anything is that our energy fields. Because this creation is a manifestation of our perception, of reality. Whether it's a bullet, if you fear getting killed by weapons or illness or whatever, we are fortified in our energy field from all things when we connect to the divine unconditional love source energy. Okay, that is the most powerful healing tool we have. It is the most powerful tool of wisdom, of heart, of all things that we can possibly manifest into this world from a place of goodness. If we come from balance, we have access to all those things that allow us to empower the greater good, the whole. Okay? All things. We empower and protect the balance of divinity and the universe. That's what we do. That's what this world will do. That's what we are moving towards. And that is why only the most disciplined, who have mastered the emotional body and have shown their commitment over many lifetimes, that's why we will be the ones who transcend. And those most balanced people, they're not coveting power and control. They're not coveting roles in this transcendence. They're not saying, why am I not doing that? Or why are they doing that? And why can't I? Why can't we? Why can't? They're saying, this is my job, this is my path, this is my purpose, I'm going to do it. And then we come together. What can I do to help you? What can I do to help you? How can I support you in this endeavor? Because we work as a unifying force, creating a unifying field. We work together. We need each other, and we honor each other on our path and purpose. That's it. We are fully committed. And this negative energy works from a place of separation. They can never usurp or override the interconnected nature of the divine. Never. You cannot do that from separation. You cannot do that from jealousy, anger, bitterness, coveting. Because you always want to dominate. We don't work from that place. We work from a place of unification, of valuing each other and honoring one another, and knowing that we need each other. And being grateful for one another. Being grateful for the value that these others offer us from this place of living in separate bodies, but knowing our interconnectedness. Okay? It's very easy to make people feel separate when you're living in separate vessels, physical forms. But these powerful people, these powerful light workers who know and understand our interconnectedness and work from that place, can't be separated. Even if though we look separate, we know we're connected through our energy fields. And you can't break those connections. You can't break those connections because they're founded in source energy from the divine. And that's where we live from. That's our place. We live from our place of interconnectedness. We live from a place of divine source energy, knowing our connection knowing our connection to the divine source energy, and embody that here on earth. That's what this world is. That's what this world is meant to be. And that's what it's moving into. And from this place, we will move out into the universe to create change. First energetically, but then physically. From a place of divine source energy. We must embody divine source energy, divine love, unconditional love, and share that with the universe from a place of absolute balance. There will be no deviation. And Gladiolas and her people, the Raptors, Merlin, Sebastian, my friend, they're all part of Transcendence. They are our allies in this transition. Anybody else in the inner earth, they're not part of it. I'm not sure what's going to happen, how they will be addressed, but they will not be coming to the surface. They've already had their opportunity, and they will not be coming to the surface. Okay, give me a minute. I don't know. So I'm just going to tell you what came in really quick. So as soon as I closed my eyes, I had all these men, that I would identify as special forces, and they're just like sitting there like this, and they're just like, oh, SHIT. That's what they're saying. And then like these Knights of Templar men that I have identified, they're just kind of like very stoic, very old school. They're men from the present, but they are just standing there like this is like no surprise to them. You know, they're like ready for it. And then they do the same thing, and then they kind of have smirks on their faces. And then I was like, oh no, did I do something wrong? And I knew I didn't, because this information is coming in, and it's come in over the last week, so I know it had to be said. So I just started channeling this divine energy, and I'm like, okay, what's happening? Why are these guys so nervous? They're just kind of really on the fence. They're literally just on the fence. And all of a sudden I had this like tidal wave of white energy, white light come down through me, and just start bombarding me. And no messages, no words, but you know, I just know I have to do certain things, and I do it, and maybe it makes people uncomfortable sometimes. I'm no longer uncomfortable with this. I just need to make sure that I'm connecting to the divine when the messages come through, and that I'm being clear in what I'm trying to say, and execute and share those messages, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to share those messages, and it's not my place to edit or refuse to speak. I have to convey the messages as they come, and I do that. And maybe so, and okay, so that's what they're saying. They're saying, oh my God, I can't believe she just did that. I can't believe she just dropped that bomb. But that's okay. I'm used to that. People looking at me going, I can't believe she just did that. I can't believe she just said that. Because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Okay, it's always about how you say it. And in these moments, maybe these are things that are hard for people to hear, but they have to be said. So people are aware of what's happening and why it's happening. Okay, so I don't want to go back over everything I've just said, but let me just take another minute. Okay, that's it. Thank you.